Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where two friends get together and talk about the story behind the matches. I'm Matt.
And I'm Michael.
Welcome to episode 14, Starrcade 87.
Chi-Town Heat, Glory Bound. Right? The Glory Bound's part of it.
I kind of want the, siren.
Yeah. It's so fun to do that. I did it poorly, but yeah. We need the soundboard just from my phone, so it sounds really bad. But so whenever we feel extra obnoxious.
We're always feeling extra obnoxious, though.
That's pretty true.
So Starrcade 87, the 5th annual Starrcade event produced by Jim Crockett Productions on November 26th, 1987. Does that date sound familiar to anyone?
It's a day for giving. What's that? Thanks.
Thanks?
Yes, thanks. It's good for giving thanks.
But it was also something else. We'll come to that here in a minute.
Okay.
The event was held at the UIC Pavilion in Chicago, Illinois, which is like the farthest north Jim Crockett Productions at this point has held a show. The event would also feature wrestlers from the UWF, which had just been purchased pretty shortly before the event by Jim Crockett
Is
Productions.
the UWF like a more northern thing?
No.
No, really?
The Oklahoma, Texas area.
Okay, so they're not like there's
the old Mid-South, the old Bill Watts.
So they're not like
Mid-South.
doing in like they're not bringing like Chicago. They're not bringing the Chi-Town Heat.
No. Like they have some guys that are from like the old AWA, so they ran Chicago back in the day. Like the Road Warriors are on the show, and Chicago's their hometown.
Oh, I remember that pop.
But literally, like, it makes no sense for the show to be in Chicago, other than JCP is trying to become a national brand.
Yeah, and Chicago's traditionally a big wrestling town. I
really
imagine it was a big wrestling town back then too. Yeah. But I know today it's like one of the spots.
Yeah. So Starrcade 87 drew an attendance of 8,000 people.
That sounds kind of low.
That does sound pretty low.
I mean, I don't know how big the UIC Pavilion is.
It's probably bigger than 8,000 people.
Probably.
And this was the first NWA event to actually be broadcast on pay-per-view.
A true pay-per-view?
True pay-per-view, not just closed circuit. And it drew a 3.3 rate. Which,
but I guess it was also had about 100 closed circuit.
It did have some closed circuit stuff. But part of the reason for such the small buy on the pay-per-view,
because it wasn't that available,
was due to WWF. And the reason why I said November 26, 1987 might sound familiar, because we covered a show last week.
Survivor Series.
That was on the exact same day.
Yeah.
And WWF demanded pay-per-view companies to only provide Survivor Series if they wanted to be able to broadcast WrestleMania 4.
I mean, yeah, that's fucking some shitty ballsy stuff. Also, okay, this is Survivor Series was in Ohio. What do you think the attendance for the same day Survivor Series was? Do you remember? I got it here.
It's probably 13,000, 14,000.
Oh no, it's 21.
21, wow.
Yeah. And same day. That's crazy. That's more than twice. I mean, it's probably, adjusted for inflation.
It's WWE numbers.
Yeah.
But
wrestling numbers.
So Survivor Series drew a 7.0 because so many.
Yeah, it was.
So many companies went ahead and covered.
Just kind of a shame because I feel like on this show, spoiler alert, Starrcade starts to step up, or NWA starts to step up their game production wise.
I'm going to go ahead and spoiler alert it.
No.
I like Starrcade better than Survivor Series.
Yeah, I did too. I thought you were going to say something crazy. Show. Oh, yeah, no, I agree.
But also, just so we're in the frame of mind of November 26, 1987.
Oh, tell me what happened, Matt.
So a few days before, in Chicago, a pair of television stations would be hijacked by an unknown pirate dressed as Max Headroom.
This is such a fun thing. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about this, and it rules.
The guy has never been caught.
No. It's like some true early hacker shit. It's like, makes me think of like Videodrome, except for minus all the like porno stuff.
I want to say it was like 9 seconds on WGN, which is the big superstation that everyone knows, and then like 30 seconds on a substation.
Like a PBS type of deal, like
more
of a public access.
Yeah.
But Max Headroom is one of those things where I know what Max Headroom looks like. I think I've watched the Max Headroom pilot and maybe a couple episodes a bunch of times, but I never sat down and did it. It's one of those things where it's like, if I can get over the hump or like commit myself, on paper it could be my favorite thing. I just haven't done it yet. But I know that like the chances of me loving it are high.
Slim to high.
Yeah, probably about as high as I was when I tried to watch it the first couple times. And if I do it in the state that I live these days, it'd probably be a lot easier to take in.
I mean, it's no hard ticket to Hawaii.
Nothing is.
It's true. And also, the first Final Fantasy video game would be released just a few weeks later.
Have you ever played a Final Fantasy game?
I have never played a Final Fantasy game.
Played...
I am not an RPG guy.
Yeah, I played 7 because I kind of had to. Because I had friends I had a PlayStation, and it was one of those things. And I remember liking it. And then I think my friend gave me 9 years ago for like a Secret Santa gift. But I didn't play it.
I think the closest thing I ever played RPG-wise was
Zelda?
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts. That's not turn-based, is it? It's more action like Zelda?
It's more action-based,
okay.
Yeah.
That was the video game minute. I'm not a big video game guy. I like them in theory.
Yeah, I'm... Exactly.
No hate. I just never think to play a video game.
It's not the first thing that I go for.
No. Too busy watching wrestling.
Exactly. We're watching lots of wrestling. So we're off to the show. And we get Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross.
And what does Jim Ross look like to you?
Like a fat little boy.
Well, I mean, yeah, but he looks like the chubby chipmunk from Alvin and the Chipmunks. Is that Simon?
Theodore?
Is it? Yeah, Theodore. Of course, his name's Theodore because Theodore sounds thick.
But
you feel like he's got like Jim Ross is he's got the buck teeth kind of, and it's weird because I've never really noticed that before. But maybe it's just I don't know.
Well, he had his stroke like midway through.
Well, yeah, I remember when that happened because
era.
that's like when I was like peak watching wrestling as a kid.
And so, like, his voice is the same but a little bit.
Well, I mean,
different.
it's less, but I mean, you can tell it's him, but like even before then, he's still he's an older man, and there was more of a I feel like his draw got even pre that whole deal. I feel like his draw was different. I feel like he speaks more clearly, but he's also, he's a young buck.
I don't know how old he was doing these shows, but he looks like a baby.
Yeah, a big fat baby.
And we're headed off to our first match of the night.
Straight to the matches.
Straight to the matches. There's not really much of
this is
welcome at all.
This is a lean show. Like, there's not a whole lot of.
They're just like, let's do it.
Yeah, it's good.
Let's get into it. So the first match, Sting, Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, and Michael P.S. Hayes with Precious versus Eddie Gilbert, Rick Steiner, and Larry Zbysko.
The pizza man, Larry Zbysko. He looks like he owns a pizza joint. He looks like he owns a pizza joint.
Okay.
That's all I got.
With Baby Doll in their corner in a 6-man tag match. So this is our first time to see Larry Zbysko. And he is a WWE Hall of Famer. It's also our first Sting match.
Yeah, I was going to say his first Sting match, right?
And he's a professional wrestling TNA, WWE, and Wrestling Observer newsletter Hall of Famer.
TNA has a Hall of Fame?
TNA does have a Hall of Fame.
Sick.
I think Kurt Angle and Bubba Ray may be the only two, dual...
Did you ever see that?
Hall of Famers in the two?
Oh, that crazy, it's basically like a cannonball off of... It's when Kurt Angle was high out of his mind, but it's a TNA spot, and it's kind of terrifying and reckless, but also kind of amazing. I'll look it up later so you can see it.
Hot take, Kurt Angle was better in TNA than he ever was in WWE.
I've heard that. He was probably high out of his mind, and so he's like, whatever. But I've never watched much TNA. couple matches, but
well, in about 10 years
we'll order the like Kurt Angle TNA DVD off of. Well, no, we'll just download it off the internet.
Yeah, we'll just get it off.
I don't got $40 for a DVD.
So there's a story actually behind this match. Most of these guys were part of the UWF, and so when JCP bought UWF, brought over a bunch of the guys. A lot of them didn't get much of a push once they got brought over.
But Sting was that boy.
Sting was one of them, though. But the story behind the match was that Sting was actually part of Eddie Gilbert's faction in the UWF.
Yeah, Eddie Gilbert's like his mentor.
And Sting was having a match with Terry Taylor, who we'll see later on in the show. And Gilbert would come down and interfere in the match, costing Sting, and then him and Taylor would gang up on Sting. Another one of the faces in UWF came out, and it completed the face turn for Sting. Because Sting was basically, at the time, it was him and the person who would become known as Ultimate Warrior were basically the henchmen.
Oh, what's the Ultimate Warrior's real name? He has a crazy real name. I always forget it. It's weird. He's the Ultimate fucking Warrior.
Yeah.
He's a big jerk. We all
I mean, he was
that.
like... They were like Flash and something or else back in UWF.
Flash and Bang.
Or something like that.
Yeah, the Neon Warriors.
But as the match starts, we get flashing lights, smoke.
A lot of pinks and blues.
Yeah.
A lot of smoke.
Bad Street USA.
The only song that's not like piped in like later by the network.
Everything's dubbed on this show pretty much.
Yeah, so I was like, we don't know what they actually come out to. But that song, they own that one.
That accompanies our faces to the ring. Eddie Gilbert is announced to be from Every Girl's Dream.
Yeah. Well, this is still our first Rick Steiner, too?
No, we saw Rick Steiner a couple shows ago.
Rick Steiner comes with a jacket that says Gremlin on it, but they don't ever say he's the Gremlin, and I'm like, that fucking rules. That's all I got. But I was like, why does it say Gremlin on it? They
haven't started calling him the Dog-Faced Gremlin yet.
Oh, that's what happens later?
I don't think he hasn't had his accident yet. Because he has an accident.
So they just are like, well, he was the Gremlin, but... Oh, okay. All right.
Larry Zbysko actually looks pretty young in this.
Yeah,
he's not.
Yeah.
But compared to what I'm used to seeing, because I've never seen him as a young man, I've only seen him as a WCW announcer back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And, he looks super young. And this is only, 12 years before then, so it's like...
Yeah, did some aging. Yeah, I just love... He's got a big pizza man look to me.
To counter Eddie Gilbert's being from Every Girl's Dream, Sting's announced to be from Every Man's Nightmare.
But is Sting more handsome?
I would say so.
Yeah, he's got that super cute mullet mohawk combo.
It's announced that there is a 15-minute time limit.
Time limits are big in the show.
Time limits are huge in...
They count that it's do they even need a ref? Because they every 5 minutes they go over
Yeah, the ref...
They go over the house speakers.
Or the announcer announces over the loudspeaker. This time, much time has passed. It's
all
right, cool. I mean, they do that.
Keep everybody on task.
They do
Keep
that in New Japan, but it never.
It's not as loud, but I also feel like that it's not. I don't know. I feel like they're just keeping these guys on task, or whoever's running the match. There's a guy in there that a couple guys in there that were kind of leading the match, whoever they are. So so everybody hits their cues and stuff. But
I agree. So
it was interesting to see.
To begin with, Steiner attacks Sting from behind as everyone is still getting out of the ring. And Steiner goes for a Steiner line, but Sting sidesteps it. Say that 3 times fast.
Sidesteps it.
Sting sidesteps the Steiner line.
Sidestep the Steiner line.
And he ends up tripping Rick to send him through the ropes to the floor. Sting then does a suicide dive, which we only see Steiner taking it and not the actual dive.
Yeah, there's a little bit of wonky work.
Camera work's not the best in this show.
Yeah.
Back in the ring, Sting does a top rope missile drop kick to Steiner, which brings everyone into the ring to brawl.
Solid debut for Stinger.
I agree. A suicide dive and then a top rope missile drop kick.
He comes in hot.
I was like, yes, sir. We get triple Irish whips by the good guys, and all that send all the bad guys bumping into each other in the middle of the ring.
Is this pre or post moonwalk?
Moonwalk has not happened
Okay,
yet.
I'm sorry.
I promise I got that
Okay, it can't be missed.
We do, while this match is going on, I see a contraption set around the ring. So I guess there's another Skywalker match?
Oh yeah, I wasn't ready for that too, and I noticed it while I was watching this match.
Yeah. Hayes does some strutting and some moonwalking now.
Sorry for spoiling.
It's okay.
It was great.
No one's mad at you.
He looks good.
Hayes
looks
looks
good.
pretty good doing the moonwalk.
Do you think he pulls off the I have dark hair, a dark mustache, but bleached hair on the top better than anybody else? Because I think he pulls it off real well. So. I think he looks pretty great.
Garvin then gets a sunset flip pin attempt on Steiner, and Gilbert with an atomic drop on Garvin, which starts the heels working over Gorgeous Jimmy. I see Precious holding something.
Me too. I have it. It looks like a burrito. Maybe
That's
it's
exactly what I
is
wrote.
That what you wrote too? That's awesome. I was like, Precious has a burrito? Question mark.
Is she hungry?
Yeah.
I was like, I literally paused and was like,
I tried to find it too.
Hey, wife.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Yeah.
And tell me what you see.
I was like, afterwards, I was like, maybe it's a clutch, which is like a purse with no,
what I assumed
like a tiny,
was, but it literally looked like a burrito.
Yeah. That'd been really cool if she handed a burrito off to him and then some magic.
That's the foreign object.
Yeah, the foreign object is the burrito.
And just burrito and beat just goes everywhere. That sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it'd be really gross.
So Garvin makes the tag to Sting, who starts cleaning house until a Zbysko eye rake. And then Gilbert tosses Sting over the top rope to the concrete floor, but the ref is distracted by Steiner on the other side of the ring. And back in NWA, this would have been a disqualification for sending someone over the top rope.
Oh, yeah, I always forget that. It's a weird rule.
It was that way until 1995.
Really?
Yeah. So
even
NWO days, early NWO days, it was still
even for just tag matches or singles matches.
Every match.
So if you get clotheslined over the top, that's match is supposedly over.
That's what it was supposed to be.
I feel but they skip that a lot though.
Oh,
unless it's only when it's convenient.
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely.
Only when the ref does it. So it's like Red Shoes style, where it's if Red Shoes allows it, it's okay because he's the best ref ever.
They're like, oh, we need a disqualification so this feud can continue. Okay, let's do it, and the ref will see it.
That's frustrating, and I don't like it.
Sting reverses a Zbysko suplex attempt into a suplex of his own, and we're at 3 minutes left in the match.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I cut this match down.
You cut it down? Okay, well, I'm gonna say one thing. At one point, JR says, because these guys are not the most fun in commentators. They're not they're good, but they're not fun Jesse fun or Gorilla fun. But
there's still no. It's the same complaint that you had.
Yeah,
from a few weeks
color.
Ago. There's no color. It's all play-by-play.
It's gritty. It's NWA. But JR says that Rick Steiner has a back so broad you can show a movie on it, and it's kind of great.
That's great.
Because I think it's a spot where he's got somebody in an ab stretch or something like that. So there's a big shot of his back or whatever. I don't know. So it's good. JR.
JR has some good lines in the next couple weeks. It's probably about the best part about these shows.
Oh, I disagree.
Steiner locks on a sleeper on Sting, but escapes by sending Rick into a turnbuckle. And then Sting reverses an Irish whip by Zbysko, and it sends Larry face first into a turnbuckle. Now there's 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, and the commentary table is selling it. What's the game plan?
Sting makes the hot tag to Hayes, who starts laying out everyone. Everybody's in the ring brawling, and as JR would say, it's breaking down in Chi-Town.
Which is so good.
Hayes then hits the running bulldog on Zbysko and goes for the pin, but Larry's leg is on the ropes. Hayes then puts the sleeper on Zbysko when Gilbert comes off the top rope with an axe handle to break the hold. And we have 1 minute remaining.
Bum, bum, bum.
Steiner with the belly-to-belly suplex on Hayes in the pin attempt. A 2 count. 30 seconds. Hayes with a small package. That's what she said. 2 count. The ring announcer's counting down the last 10 seconds.
It's so good.
Hayes with a sunset flip pin on Gilbert. The ref counts. 1, 2. Bell rings because we have a time limit draw.
I love it.
But post-match, we did get a stinger splash on Steiner.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember. I like this.
Out of any time limit draw we have ever seen, this one was the best one.
Yeah, it was well telegraphed. Starrcade is getting enough. This is a much more well telegraphed show. There's no confusion.
I'm not going to tell you overall thoughts.
I'm not trying. I'm trying to hold back.
We will get to it later.
We will.
So we get JR and Schiavone sending it to Missy Hyatt in the back, who previews some of the matches before sending it back to JR and Tony.
Quick question: how many times do you see Missy Hyatt through the show?
This is the only time we see Missy Hyatt in this entire show.
It was very bizarre. And
I didn't even realize it until like afterwards. I was like reading my notes. And I'm like,
well, the whole set, like she's like standing next to this like really cool, like obviously like wall they built up that has a cool like NWA logo, and it looks kind of awesome. Honestly, it kind of looks similar. It looks like a italic version of the NWA like rap group logo, which is kind of awesome. I was like, oh, that's a cool logo, and I was like, oh, cool. Like Missy Hyatt's gonna do interviews like right here. That's neat. And then it never happened again.
There's really no interviews in the back.
It's all right because how many titles are on the line?
Like 5.
5 titles on the line.
So then we go right to the second match, and we got Barry Windham versus Dr. Death Steve Williams.
And how HARD is JR versus Dr. Death Steve Williams. I was laughing.
Well, the thing is that Steve Williams and Jim Ross are probably actually pretty good friends.
Like Steve Williams probably on Sex and the Life.
I don't know about that.
I mean, that's not nice to say.
But like, they're both OU guys.
Yeah, they're OU. I mean, he wears the OU jacket, or not the jacket, the jersey and everything. He's got it on his trunks. Yeah, it's like But we all know like
and Jim Ross is a huge OU guy. So.
Yeah.
But this match is for the UWF Heavyweight Championship.
I know. Well, they didn't unify these titles.
No, they're not unifying these. Though, spoiler alert, this title disappears in just a few months.
Oh, I believe that.
So the two men handshake before the bell, as the two men are good friends outside the ring, that meaning Windham and Williams. Yeah. But we start off press slam by Williams, and after some grappling, they end up rolling to the outside, and instead of brawling, they seem to agree to get back in the ring and to determine it there. A gut-rich suplex by Windham, and then Dr. Death goes to leapfrog Windham.
LOL.
But Windham being 6'6",
and Dr. Death being like a squatty, thick man.
He was a defensive tackle.
He's not fat, but he is fit and he is wide.
Let's just say he doesn't have enough ups to get over 6'6".
No.
And Windham ends up running straight into Williams with his head.
Yeah.
Hitting Williams in the crotch.
Yeah, he gets a JYD to the JUNK.
Williams literally just holds his junk for the next 3 minutes of
to the point where it's a little annoying. It's like
all right,
we get it, dude. It hurt.
Wyndham goes for a flying crossbody. I mean, once Williams gets back up,
he takes his time because they kind of play up the whole friends thing where they're like, it's like, oh, we're trying to be fair.
Wyndham is getting booed because he's not taking advantage.
Yeah. So he's playing a fighting spirit, baby.
Exactly. But once they get back going, Windham goes for a flying crossbody off the ropes, but Williams has dropped to the mat, so Barry goes flying through the ropes to the floor. Now, Williams doesn't ever go out to the outside to attack Windham. He waits for him to get back into the ring, but as soon as he does, Williams grabs him for an Oklahoma roll and gets the pin and the win. And basically everyone was like, the announcers were like, oh, Windham didn't take advantage, but Williams kind of did.
Yeah. Also, JR just, says a lot of OU stuff. I guess OU was probably really good at the time, but, he makes he gets all his references in. He is, like I said, HARD.
87?
You would know better than me, for sure.
Actually, I think they were going to play for the national championship that year.
Yeah, I think he actually drops that. Yeah.
But we head off to our third match. Like I said, show just rolling along today.
Yeah, it's quick.
Maybe it's on the express train.
What kind of express train?
Could be midnight or rock and roll, because they're both in the next match.
How many times did these guys fight each other? Every time they fought?
A lot.
Every time they either met.
This was they were biggest rivalries.
Yeah.
In the South.
Also,
in the 80s.
Two fucking amazing tag teams.
Exactly. So you got the Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane, with Jim Cornette and Big Bubba Rogers in the corner.
Bobby and what is it? Shit, what Stan's?
Sweet
Stan.
Versus Rock and Roll Express of Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson in a Skywalkers scaffold match.
How do you feel about the Skywalkers scaffold match?
It's a waste of my time.
It is I will say that when every match is not a jackass gimmick match, I don't mind it so much. Which is a plus to this show.
But it was still a waste of my time.
I think it was a waste of these two tag teams.
Yes, these two tag teams could have a great match in the ring, and to do this is just...
Give them the time limit draw.
Yeah, it makes more sense for them to have.
Yeah, but I mean, they were hot, and the Skywalker match is a spectacle. Also, you have, Cornette and, like, Big Bubba, so it just kind of adds to,
exactly
the whole thing.
So, obviously, if you've been listening to us, the rules for the match are the first team to have both members crash down to the mat below are the losers.
Yeah, we've talked about it. It's 2 stairs basically up to, like, a catwalk made out of, like, a ladder. Like, 2 ladders next to each other. It looks terrifying and not safe.
I mean, this one does look a little bit sturdier and not as high.
It looks more narrow to me, though. Like, it looks like the standing area is more narrow. But maybe not.
Possibly,
maybe it's because the quality of the
sturdier.
Like this show, the quality of this show is better as far as like equipment and stuff. So the show looks nicer.
My first question: I really wondered if Jim Cornette was having nightmares with this match.
He wasn't going back up there.
He broke his leg.
Why do you think? Yeah, and like I think there's a sustained. I don't think he took very many bumps after that match because
he still has the leg injury.
Yeah, and like fucked up his like
his knee,
tailbone. I thought it also fucked up his like lower back.
It might have.
Either way, the man got hurt.
But the match is also a non-title match because Midnight Express were the the U.S. tag team champions at the time. There's 2 refs, and I noticed that they both had different style shirts on. One like actually had a normal like ref shirt on, and then the other one had like a white shirt on. I was just like, you work for the same company, shouldn't you?
He didn't have black stripe money.
Guess not. So both teams start climbing up to the top, but Bubba grabs Morton and Bubba slams him in the ring. So the Midnight Express are double teaming Gibson up top. Bubba then starts climbing up when Morton grabs Cornette's tennis racket and starts beating on his back. Morton then climbs up to the top with the racket and starts laying it to Lane and Eaton. Gibson swings at Eaton, but Bobby ducks, and Robert ends up spinning himself around, and I literally thought he was going to fall off from the force of the spin.
Yeah.
Because he literally had to, like, purposely fall to the scaffold.
Is that the most, like oh shit moment in the match?
I think so.
Which is kind of upsetting, because it should be oh shit the whole time, but I mean, I don't want these guys to hurt themselves, but...
somehow Gibson gets busted open, probably just from ramming his head against the scaffold.
Oh, you think he got it the hard way?
Kayfabe. And then Rock and Roll has Eaton on the edge when Bobby pulls some powder out and throws it into both of the Rock and Roll Express's eyes.
What is it, regular powder or party powder?
Are you meaning cocaine?
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't have wasted it.
No, they're not going to waste the cocaine. Like, that stuff just ends up on the floor?
Yeah.
Midnight Express are double teaming Gibson when he ducks so that Eaton hits Lane. And then Morton hits Eaton on top of the head with the racket, and Bobby waddles away right into a Gibson right hand. Eaton has stolen the racket now and starts laying into Morton. And then Eaton walks over to Gibson, but Robert has taken one of the guardrails from the end.
Yeah, that was a weird...
And starts hitting Eaton with it, knocking the racket to the ground.
But it looks like it's, like, connected.
It still is.
Okay, because it looks like an erector set, but you didn't, like, screw in the other side, so it's just, like, as you can see, I'm holding my elbow, like, it's thinking just, it kind of looks like it was going down to warn you of the train, but it's just, like, he's, like, it's, like, still connected with the screw. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, it was very... Lane starts climbing down one of the scaffolding, and Gibson starts stomping at his hands. Cornette tosses the racket back up to Eaton, who lays into Gibson with it.
First time catch, I think, too.
Yeah, it was kind of impressive. Yeah. Morton starts climbing down to fight with Lane underneath the scaffold, and Gibson has stolen the racket back and has hidden Eaton with it. As you can tell, there was a lot of hitting each other with the racket.
This might as well have been a racket match.
Might as well have been. Lane tries to monkey bar across, but Morton kicks him, and he falls to the mat.
Does he kick him?
No.
He does not kick him. He just drops.
Trying to stay in kayfabe.
We're not doing that.
Eaton is struggling to hang on underneath the scaffold, and has Morton kicking him and Gibson hitting him with the racket when he falls to the mat. So Rock and Roll Express are your winners.
What a match.
How long did this match go? Do you know?
I don't know.
I didn't write down the time either.
I don't know. Too long?
Too long.
I mean, like, I don't know.
It started off like with the Bubba stuff. I was like, oh, well, this is a different take to it. Because I was like, maybe Bubba's going to lay out Morton at the beginning. He's going to climb up. They're going to triple team Gibson, throw him off. And then Morton's going to somehow like come back and win a double team or something like that. Yeah. I thought that would have been an interesting idea. But like literally both the Skywalker scaffold matches that we've seen, the losing team or the winning team has had both people up on top.
Yeah.
Like there's
like why not do it like a 2 or 3 falls type thing? It's like nobody's going to get all 3 falls.
You knock one of them off.
Yeah.
And then
the other guy falls off. And then
one of the faces falls off.
Yeah, and then somebody throws a gimmick up there, and it's a battle of the gimmick on top of the gimmick. I mean, but I think my favorite part of the match is I think it's Ricky Morton afterwards. He puts on Big Bubba's like hat, and like he puts on like a cowboy hat and like jacket, and it rules.
The best part is before that.
Oh, what happens before that?
So post-match, Cornette sends Bubba to the top, and he grabs the racket. And Morton is climbing down, and Bubba decides that he doesn't need the racket. So Gibson and Bubba are up on the top.
Yeah.
And Gibson he uses the old, hey, what's that?
I did not catch this, I don't think.
Bubba looks away, and Robert punches him in the dick.
How did I miss that?
And then he just like scurries down the ladder to the ring.
That's good. That's good comedy.
Bubba's still up there
with his dick punched in,
and that's when
he goes down and
he puts the hat in the.
I might have to skip to that because, like, maybe I caught that, but I feel like I would have made a note about that because I like that. I like the spot where he like has these like he's like gloating on the apron and he's got like the hat and the jacket on and it's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, Rock and Roll Express leave, and Bubba's still up top, and Cornette's like it shows like a wide shot, and Cornette's just having a temper tantrum in the ring.
You know, this is the best thing he does.
Exactly.
He still does it today. This day he means it.
He does. So we head back to Tony and JR, who review a bit of the action we've seen so far, and then send it to Bob Caudle, who's in the back with gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, Precious, and Michael Hayes. And Jimmy Garvin starts cutting a promo. Basically, he's excited to be part of Starrcade. Him and Hayes want a challenge for the tag team titles. And then he goes on a long, extended thing where he basically goes through all the matches that are about to happen.
Hold on. Okay. I want you to play this under... No, I'm just kidding. Under a song. No, I think that we shouldn't play a song at the end of the show. I think you should just tack on this promo because I have, like, 7 lines of, like, handwritten notes of me just saying... Fucking talks forever. I wrote 5 ever instead of 4 ever. Holy fuck. Longest promo ever. LOL. Jesus, it's still going. I don't know what to say. Can we play this for the outro? Finally shuts up. Fuck. Like, all in caps. It's amazing. He says nothing and everything at the same time.
That's exactly. He says nothing and everything at the same time.
It's like I couldn't believe that he just kept talking. I was like, oh my god. Holy crap. And I was thinking, like, he must be, like, fucking hella high. He must be feeling pretty good. Because he just goes. What was yours? I'm sure you've got some funny stuff to say.
The promo is on YouTube.
Oh, is it?
So I can put it at the end.
Okay, cool.
It's 3 minutes long, guys.
It's so silly. But it's really bad. It's fun to watch. But I seriously was, like, watching it, and I was like, all right, cool. Is he going to say anything that I should take a note on? And then he just keeps talking, and I just took notes on how long he keeps talking.
Well, I was listening to him, and I'm just like, he's literally just going through every match that's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, and he's just like bigging up his buds, and saying he's going to keep fighting.
He's not saying anything.
No, not at all.
But he's saying things.
Yeah, he got a hand of that Skywalker powder.
I guess so. But then after they leave, Bob Caudle brings in Steve Williams. And Steve basically says, Windham had his chance, but he didn't get it done. And I am the wrestling machine of the world.
Yeah, 110 to 100. Wait, he says 110 to 210%. It's a bad promo. Steve Williams is scary looking. He's wearing an OU jersey, but it's a bad promo.
And then we head back to Tony and JR where they preview the next match. And if you noticed, they've taken the scaffolding down from around the ringside. maybe that's why Jimmy Garvin went for like 4, or as you say, 5 ever.
5 ever, yeah.
And we're headed off to the 4th match. Terry Taylor with Eddie Gilbert and his Warner
versus hot stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Nikita Koloff in a unification match for the NWA and UWF television championships.
It's a cool idea.
It makes sense. Like, too many belts in a promotion make no
They're
sense.
like, okay, like we're gonna band together because like WWF is trying to focus. So they're like, okay, well we'll but they're like, okay, we want to keep our heavyweight title for now. But the TV, it's like, it seems kind of like a union. We're like, okay.
Well, I also kind of understand, because is Dr. Death Steve Williams on the same level as like Ron Garvin and Ric Flair?
Hell no.
So, I mean, let's just say Ric Flair, because he wasn't the champion at the time, because Ron Garvin had beaten him, which we'll get to more of that later, but Ric Flair had been the champion for a long time.
Yeah,
no way is Steve Williams on the same level as that. And so it's like,
no, Steve Williams was fine, but he wasn't even the best person in that ring.
I'm like, Steve Williams is like a European champion level.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, you sell Steve Williams on his look more than his ring ability.
Exactly. So there actually is a story.
He's like your Brutus Beefcake.
So the story behind this match was that Taylor, along with Gilbert and Rick Steiner, would attack Koloff and steal his belt. Nikita vowed to get his belt back before Starrcade. And at a broadcast leading up to the show, Taylor and Gilbert would once again jump Koloff, beating him unconscious, and then draped his TV title across his limp body.
Like they steal the belt. It's like, I guess, pride. But like, whatever, you can have it. I'm Nikita fucking Koloff. I still wear CCP, like on my like gear, and I'm a baby. That rules.
Still talks with a Russian accent.
It rules that he is like this like fake foreign baby, and it makes sense because he's fucking amazing. It's really funny that Ivan is like still a heel, but they have the same last name. Yeah. I love that whole dynamic.
So the match starts off with Taylor starting to try to match power with power, but Nikita wasn't having any of it.
Hell no.
And then Nikita has Taylor in an armbar, and Terry tries to escape by going over the rope, but Koloff keeps hold and ends up just dragging Taylor back into the ring.
What's the story of this match?
I already said it.
The armbar?
Oh, the story of the match, not the story before the match, the story of the match.
Yeah.
Yes, an armbar would be the story of this match. Terry headbutts Nikita and then goes to slam him into the turnbuckle, but Koloff reverses and Terry goes headfirst into the pad. The two men start throwing rights when Nikita Irish whips Taylor, who comes back and gets a back body drop. Nikita is tired of Taylor wasting time outside the ring, so he ends up dragging him back in by the hair. Koloff with the Irish whip, sending Taylor into the turnbuckle. Nikita charges in, but Terry gets the knee up and goes for the pin, using the ropes as leverage, but Nikita is able to kick out. Koloff back with the arm holds, but Terry escapes with another headbutt. Koloff then puts on the Russian Hammer, which is basically an iron claw chokehold, which means that he can't have it on for like longer than 5 seconds. Nikita is setting up for the Russian sickle, but Taylor ducks and Koloff bounces off the turnbuckle and in onto the floor. Taylor slams Nikita's head into the guardrail and then a shoulder into the ring post. So Taylor's starting to work over the arm, and then Gilbert gets involved as he slams the arm against the apron as well. Taylor tries to suplex Nikita, but Koloff reverses it into a suplex of his own.
I love that he was going to suplex Nikita.
Yeah.
Terry Taylor's a fit guy, but he's kind of a string bean compared to Nikita Koloff.
Everyone's pretty much a string bean compared to me. We get a few more Taylor right hands, and then Koloff walks to a turnbuckle and slams his own head against it, and then turns with crazy eyes towards Terry.
Do I have crazy eyes?
No, not as crazy as what Nikita did. Koloff's giving right hands to Taylor in the corner when the ref tries to stop him, allowing Terry to give an inverted atomic drop to Nikita. Taylor goes to the pin and puts his foot on the ropes for leverage, but the ref sees it this time. Taylor and the ref are arguing while Nikita gets to his feet, and Koloff goes for the small package, just a 2 count.
A Nikita small package should win any match.
It didn't look good.
No, it didn't. But just like his surprise pin should pin just about anybody.
Taylor then goes for a pile driver, but Nikita reverses it into a back body drop, and Taylor escapes the ring after several hard right hands. Koloff chases after him outside the ring, but when he goes to get back in, Taylor hits him with a knee. Gilbert does something to the leg of Nikita. Once again.
Something.
No camera angle was shown.
Yeah, it's a little wonky, but
you get the idea of what's happening.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to be shown it.
I don't know. I kind of like a little bit of the growth. I think I like it better if they missed it than if they like cut away for like a move that may not have gone over as well, like they do with WWE these days.
You mean the 7 cuts in 3 seconds?
Yes, that's what I mean.
And Koloff is in pain. Taylor goes to put the figure 4 on. Gilbert comes over and is holding Taylor's arms for leverage. Koloff keeps getting his shoulders up for only 2 counts. The ref finally sees Gilbert and Taylor's mischievous ways and forces the hold to be broken. The ref and Taylor are arguing again, allowing Gilbert to attack Koloff. But Nikita grabs Hot Stuff and drags him up to the apron where Taylor is trying to hit Koloff from behind and ends up hitting heads with Gilbert. Koloff with the Russian sickle for the pin and the win.
And no! Yeah, I missed. I was gonna say and only.
Unified.
And unified. There is a thing in this match where I think the announcers say new ref Harold Hebner, and they refer to him as like a new ref.
Oh, Hebner's been there for quite some time.
But yeah, I don't know. But I feel if it wasn't weird, I probably wouldn't have taken a note on it. But like, I feel like somebody called him a new ref. I thought that was weird.
That is weird.
Also, there's this part where like Heb isn't allowing a rope break that's like obvious and noticeable. Also, does Terry Taylor do like a senton in this match as well?
I don't think so.
Really? I felt like he did.
Maybe he did. And I just
like if you if you run and throw your legs up and land with your back on them, it's a senton, right?
Yeah, basically.
People say senton. I feel like because there was a spot and another thing that I had in my notes that you didn't do, and I was like, the senton was or like modified some kind of senton-ish thing. I was like, that was something you don't see too much at this time.
No, definitely don't see many sentons this time.
That's like the immediate like big man move. Your Samoa Joe, your Cassius Ohno. Like, yeah, he's a big guy and he's a good wrestler, but he also like just wants to eat. like that's the fucking move. And it's kind of shitty because it's like, this is like the least harmful thing to you and the most harmful thing to the person underneath you.
So we're headed off to our 5th match. We got Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard.
What's your quick feeling on that last match? Did you like that match?
It was all right.
I like that match.
It's one of the better matches of the night.
Man, I can't believe you're so down on this show.
So Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard with J.J. Dillon versus the Road Warriors with Paul Ellering for the NWA World Tag Team Championships. And the story behind this match was basically this was a continuation of the feud between the Horsemen and the Road Warriors that had started before War Games at the Great American Bash 87. And we have the champs coming out first.
Bum, bum, bum.
Foreshadowing. Arn goes to the top rope after giving a knee, but gets press slammed by Hawk. Tully comes and goes after Hawk, but Hawk is too powerful, so Tully rolls out of the ring, but then is press slammed back through the ropes by Animal. Tully starts walking back to the locker room saying, F it, I don't need this.
Yeah, it's like, I'm good.
But Hawk runs after him and brings him back into the ring. Hawk gives a drop kick and we get a 2 count. Animal Irish whips Tully to the corner and charges in, but Blanchard gets his knee up. And then Tully goes to the top rope, comes off with a crossbody, but Animal catches him and slams him to the mat. We then get a Hawk bear hug on Arn, but Tully comes in and kicks the Warrior for him to break the hold. And the Horsemen double team Hawk before he is able to double clothesline Tully and Arn. Hawk presses Tully and then tosses him into a bear hug by Animal.
That's a cool spot.
We get some more press slams by the Warriors until Hawk has Tully up when Arn drop kicks Hawk's leg. And then the Horsemen start working over that leg. Tully hits Hawk's leg with a chair on the outside of the ring, and then Arn DDTs Hawk inside the ring for a 2 count. Tully goes to put the figure 4 on, but Hawk tries to grab a small package, but looks to be a botched spot.
Yeah, it is.
It was.
Yeah. You right.
like rolled over, and it's like, was that supposed to be a small package?
It's a awkward package.
Yeah. Arn then goes to put the figure 4 on, he literally stops with his back to Hawk.
Bad idea. And then he waits too long, and then Hawk just does the butt push.
Almost like he's waiting on something.
No, like he's like they planned it or something.
Hawk kicks him off and into the turnbuckle.
Yeah, that took me out of the match.
I'm gonna go. That's another botched spot.
That one kind of took me out of the match because I was like pretty invested, and then I was like,
yeah,
and it was like because it was like it's just a couple of seconds.
Because
if he did it immediately,
a split second, but you can tell the arm.
Yeah, but it
stops.
It sucks something out of the match.
Yeah,
which is a bummer because everybody in this ring is a wonderful fucking worker.
Yeah,
they're all fucking legends.
I should love this match.
They're all legends. I like this match. I like this match.
I only like it. Tully gets the figure 4 locked in at this time, but Hawk ends up making the hot tag. Animal drop kicks Arn, elbow to Tully to send him to the floor. Animal goes to run the ropes, but Tully grabs and trips him, and then Hawk starts chasing Tully on the outside. Tully runs into the ring and bumps into Tommy Young, the ref,
bump,
sending him flying out to the floor. Earl Hebner, I guess, is out there, and he's checking on Tommy Young, and then Animal backbody drops Arn over the top rope.
It's cool.
The Warriors then double clothesline Tully.
It's also cool.
And then Animal picks up Arn while Hawk goes to the top rope.
Doomsday Device. That's triple cool.
Animal covers. Earl Hebner is there for the 3 count and the win. Hebner grabs the belts, hands them to the Road Warriors. All of a sudden, Tommy Young's back in the ring, talking with Hebner, and raises Arn's arm. The Horsemen win by disqualification.
Why would they win by disqualification, Matt?
Because of the over-the-top rope rule.
And this is just like some NWA fuckery, right?
It's the rule in the NWA.
But is it really the rule in the NWA?
It's really the rule in the NWA.
Is there, like, if we went back a couple of Starrcades ago, does anybody go over the top rope and get DQ'd? Or does it just never happen?
It does happen, but the ref is always distracted.
Quick question.
It happened on the very first Starrcade.
Yeah.
During the during the Bob Orton Dick Slater match.
Was that one of those matches where we were confused? Like, what is all this DQ shit? Because we just didn't know the rules.
I knew that it was a rule at that time because they did it.
I'm sure you told me.
But the refs was distracted, and Bobby Orton and Dick Slater were like, "Hey, he knocked us over the top rope."
Quick question though: what about the Ric Flair whipped into the corner? Spot where he pushes himself over. Since he was whipped into the corner, does it count as a DQ?
Obviously not.
But shouldn't it? Because the offense was that. I mean, I guess you could say that he's defending himself by putting his hands up, but he could just go back and then he would still get attacked by the other guy.
Technically, he's going over the top.
Yeah. What does wrestling not do for Ric Flair?
What it is.
I'm just being devil's advocate. And it's easy to do with something like this.
When they want them to be applied.
Earlier you were telling me that this went all the way up to Russo NWO days. No, probably not Russo, but
I don't know if it's Russo, but it's NWO. I believe it started before this rule.
Yeah. It was one of those things where it's okay, well, we don't nobody.
I think it's basically when Bischoff started having the cruiserweights, because the cruiserweights freaking jumped over the top. All the time with suicide dives and stuff like that.
But also back then, in WCW, they brought all these big guys in for big money, and they all got creative control on their thing. So if somebody didn't want to go over, they didn't go over. So it was all DQs all the time. Yeah. So it was okay, well, how are we going to DQ this? I'm well, I guess we had this old NWA rule. So
post-match, the Warriors still technically have the belts, and they walk back to the locker room with them.
Which is cool.
So then we go to the back, and we have Jack Gregory and Magnum TA previewing the last 2 matches. And we actually get the first actual mention of Legion of Doom. How many more times do we see Jack Gregory and Magnum TA in this show?
I don't remember.
Just like Missy Hyatt, none.
None? Is that all?
This is the only time we see them.
Okay.
And then we go to Bob Caudle, who's with Nikita Koloff. And Nikita cuts a promo. I have no clue what he says.
No, it's very bizarre.
Because his growl is worse than Christian Bale as Batman.
Yeah, most definitely. I think at one point he says, "makes my heart feel good." But he talks about having 2 belts. and I was thinking about how funny it would be to have a Nikita Koloff shirt that says Nikki Two Belts on it, because that's pretty funny. It's cute and it's funny, and it sounds even like it's like Nikki Two Belts is pretty cute, and it's like a Nikita Koloff shirt. Like there's not enough Koloff merch.
Because I literally thought of that idea too.
Fucking fist bump.
I was like, we need a
Nikki Two Belts. God damn it! I'm glad. I thought that I was gonna blow your mind.
I was gonna make that joke, and then I was like, no,
it's a good joke.
It's not that great.
No, it's very good. I think it's good. We've been watching this stuff. We're getting informed, and we're getting excited about if we're getting excited about Nikita Koloff in 2019, somebody else is too.
Get excited.
Somebody else is. Yeah, there's no reason not to. But Nikki Two Belts.
It's our next T-shirt in the big cartel shop.
Yeah, I mean potentially the first one. Think about.
It'd be like our fourth one actually, because we have Keith Larson Fan Club.
Oh God, I don't even remember who Keith Larson is.
We have the Body, the Bat, and the Debutante. We had one a couple weeks ago.
We did. It was probably good.
Oh, I don't remember what it was.
I'll listen to it.
And now we have Nikita Two Belts.
Nikki Two Belts. But it could be one of those things where it's got like the CCP, and then like
email
it's got
us if any of these shirt ideas sound like something that you.
If you would buy two of them, then email us.
Because I think we need at least. I think we need to sell at least 4 of them.
Yeah, I mean I can get some shirts made, but. Either way, Nikki Two Belts, I thought it was funny, and I'm really glad that because we didn't talk about this in pre-pro at all.
We don't.
I try not to.
We go
sometimes.
in kind of cold.
Yeah, sometimes we'll talk, but
but
I try to go in cold for moments like that.
So then, Bob's still in the back. J.J. Dillon joins him, and J.J. Dillon says that Lex Luger is a perfect athlete and has Dusty backed into a corner. And then we're headed back out to Tony and JR, who say some things.
They say nothing. JR just looks like a little Theodore.
Like I said, some things, and then
hillbilly Theodore. And
then we go to our 6th match, which is Lex Luger with J.J. Dillon versus Dusty Rhodes in a steel cage match for the NWA United States Heavyweight Championship.
And I wasn't ready for it to be like. I feel like they didn't really push the cage match thing early on. So I was like, all right, a cage match, okay.
So if Dusty loses. All night long, we've basically been told if Dusty loses, his career is over.
No, but it's only 90 days.
He'll only be able to not wrestle for 90 days.
So it's basically like if Dusty loses, he gets a vacation, like a real good vacation.
But I think it was Tony that was like 90 days is a lifetime in wrestling, and I'm like, that's healing time in wrestling.
Yeah, that's what people should be taking off to get healed.
Yeah, they should work 9 months out of the year.
Yeah, and like Dusty's gonna get hurt. Like he's gonna cut himself open, but like what move is he gonna do that's gonna hurt himself? He ate a sandwich too fast. That's a shitty fat joke. I'm a fat guy. I'm just saying, Dusty Rhodes is not the most physical wrestler.
No. Johnny Weaver, who we've seen as a wrestler and as a commentator during our run through these shows, he has the key to the door so that the Horseman can't try to break in. Because remember, Luger is a part of the 4 Horsemen at this time. The match starts, Dusty with a bunch of lefts, the Dusty roll, and then a bionic elbow and an atomic drop.
Does Dusty look good in this match? Does he look better than he has recently?
He looks determined.
I feel like he almost looks less big, like he dropped some weight, but maybe not.
He's probably dropped a little bit of weight at this
point. I don't
know.
I feel like I guess the determination is the thing. He looks more like focused and like, ready to like put on a fucking show.
I think at one point they said this is the one belt that Dusty hadn't won in the NWA.
Oh, yeah.
The big belt. Because I know he'd been television champion. I know he'd been heavyweight champion.
So he's trying to go...
I know he'd been tag team champion.
What is it called when you win, like, EGOT?
The Grand
He's trying to go EGOT?
NWA Grand Slam
I think there's, like, the acting or television or movie awards.
Yeah.
We'll say EGOT.
Dusty tries multiple times to put Lex in the Weaver Lock, which is basically a sleeper.
Yeah, they put over the Weaver Lock like a motherfucker.
And as soon as they said Weaver Lock, I was like, okay, now it makes sense why Johnny Weaver's the guy with the key on the outside. Because
big ups.
Never could find anything why he was there until the match started. The ref makes Dusty break the hold when Luger gets to the ropes.
But isn't a cage match no DQ match? Fuck you with your over-the-top bullshit. This is the NWA stuff that drives me nuts. If it's in a cage, it's in a cage. No excuses, no apologies. It's in a cage.
Dusty then slows things down with a hammerlock hold, and Dusty just keeps working on Luger's arm. Dusty's pounding away on Luger in the corner when the ref hits the 5 count, so he stops Rhodes from hitting again, which allows Lex to knee below the belt. Luger then throws Dusty into the cage multiple times, busting him open. A jumping elbow drop by Lex for a 2 count, and then Lex starts pounding on Dusty's back.
What are you trying to tell me that Dusty Rhodes bled in this match?
I know it's a surprise.
That's crazy.
Can we find the match where he doesn't bleed?
Yeah, maybe if you go to WWE.
He'll be there in a few years. We then get a one-footed drop kick by Dusty. But
the one-footed drop kick is piss poor.
Exactly.
It's bad.
Because it literally takes more out of Dusty than it does Lex.
Yeah.
Lex gets up before Dusty does.
I love Dusty. I know you love Dusty. But it looks bad.
It looks horrible.
Yeah.
Lex then hits a backbreaker.
It's like a child doing karate.
Yeah. And he attempts to get Dusty up in the torture rack. But if we haven't mentioned before, Dusty is a rotund gentleman.
He's a big boy. I wrote DR too damn fat to go in the T rack. That's my note.
That's a proper way of saying it as well.
And Lex Luger would probably have a hard time putting me in a fucking T rack too, so it's all good.
Lex ends up stumbling backwards and Dusty falls between the ropes and the cage. Lex then comes back with the arm lock, but the crowd keeps trying to pump Dusty up.
Yeah.
Right as Rhodes is about to punch, Lex pulls the hair of Dusty to put him back on the mat. Rhodes starts no-selling Luger's punches and starts pounding away, knocking Luger to the mat. And then we get a really bad-looking DDT by Dusty.
Is the DDT worse than the leg drop? The drop kick, I mean? It's not a leg drop. It's a drop kick. The drop kick's so bad that it kind of looks like a leg drop, but Lex Luger just fell in front of it.
I've literally come to the conclusion that if Dusty wasn't the booker, he would not be on these shows.
I mean, he's important to wrestling. He has a great mind for it. His performances are good when it's what he's good at. He's a great promo. He's a likable person. He has it, but the it he does not have is inside of the squared circle. Or inside of the squared circle in a physical capacity, because he is good in some spots. So there isn't. If he hits the right bionic elbow, it's great, but it doesn't always hit right.
Dusty then gets the Weaver lock on Luger, and on the outside, we see J.J. Dillon hit Johnny Weaver with a chair and take the key to unlock the cage.
And it's awesome.
So as J.J. is walking over to unlock the cage, all of a sudden he stops, and then Dillon grabs a chair and throws it into the cage.
Yeah, it doesn't want to...
Because...
throws it, it has to throw it way up.
Because somehow Luger has broken the Weaver lock, and the ref is down as well. Once again, another camera angle issue that we don't see what's going on.
There's only 8,000 people there. They only have 2 camera money, man.
Literally, I was like, why would you not go unlock the... Why are you stopping to throw the chair in? Go unlock the door, and then the Horseman can come out and help.
Also, throughout this whole show, we're getting calls every 5 minutes. So there's a 15-minute call when we get the bad DDT. Just saying. Because I paid attention to the calling because it was a pretty big deal on the show.
But then we get a good DDT as Dusty... Luger is reaching down to pick up the chair, and he's literally standing there for the longest time.
He's really Arn Anderson.
And then Dusty finally gets up and DDTs him into the chair for the pin and the win. And new! So post-match, Rhodes gets out of the ring and him and Weaver hug before heading to the back. Luger is literally still selling the DDT in the middle of the ring.
It was on a chair. That's a big deal.
Which was a good... I like that.
Good play.
And then we get a replay. And I've stopped mentioning replays a long time ago because they were annoying as fuck.
Well, we don't get a lot.
And now we don't get a whole lot of them.
It goes in and out, depending on what I watch a lot of New Japan, and I still don't get as many reruns. It's replays as I'd like, unless it's a really big show.
Yeah.
But I always if I catch something, I go back. We did it a minute ago before we started this.
So, on the replay, we actually see what happened with Luger we actually do have a camera angle showing us what happened.
It just wasn't...
Luger was in the Weaver lock, and he ends up just running straight into the turnbuckle.
Oh, yeah.
Where the ref was standing.
Yes.
And that breaks Dusty off and knocks the ref down.
It was a suicide mission.
And so
Kamikaze Luger.
Made more sense. Oh, okay, JJ will send the chair in now.
Yeah.
It makes more sense. If we had just had this camera angle.
It would have been fine, but I like the finish of this match quite a bit.
I don't mind the finish of the match.
Yeah, there's some bad spots, but overall I think it's pretty well telegraphed.
But just like, why did JJ throw the... Like, I was just like, why is JJ throwing the chair in? Like,
the thing
is
like...
Just open the door and then handing the chair.
We are complaining, but this is still so much more... Every single one of these matches is still so much... It's like better shot, better telegraphed and in-ring storytelling than most of the NWA shows we've watched.
Yes.
Less confusion, easier for somebody to watch.
I agree. So then we go to Tony and JR, and they ask how to top something like that, and then they preview the last match of the evening. And we're off to our 7th match. We got Ric Flair with JJ Dillon versus Ron Garvin.
The man with hands of stone.
In a steel cage match for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So there's a story behind this match.
What is the story behind this match?
So it goes back to Great American Bash 1987, which was earlier in this summer.
Was it in the tape that we watched?
It was in the tape.
All right. Refresh my memory.
In that show, we saw Flair beat Jimmy Garvin, who was Ron Garvin's brother, for a night with Precious.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Ooh.
And I mentioned during that show, I was like, you remember this, because this comes into play later on. And this is when it does. So when Flair goes to meet up with Precious for his date, he's instead ambushed by Ron Garvin.
Good on you, dog.
In drag as Miss Alana Lively.
Is there video of this?
I'm sure there is.
Oh my god!
It's on probably one of the shows.
Oh my god!
But it's not on the paper.
We have to find that because they did not talk about this while I watched the show.
No, they did not.
They should have. Where's the video package? Where's the 5-minute video package before the match?
So after that, basically Garvin and Flair get put into an angle together or into a program together, and in September.
Yeah, because Rick tried to play with his. He's not vagina.
I mean, he just showed up for the date, and it was Miss Alana Lively instead of Precious, so I don't think anything happened. But in September, which is a couple months before this show, Garvin actually would defeat Flair for the belt.
During one of the Great American Bash matches?
No,
or
just a regular house show.
Yeah,
type.
or just a tour or whatever.
Now, I'll explain more after the match.
Okay.
Because there's more to the story.
So he beat him, and that basically gives him this match because he beat the title.
Sets
it
up
wasn't a
the
title
match.
match. I got you.
Exactly. So the match begins. We get an early woo!
We do, and it's really nice to hear the crowd respond. Because it's been a while. This is the quality of this show, production quality of this show is a lot higher than most of the NWA shows we've watched. The crowds look and sound better. The video and audio looks and sounds better. Maybe we got some crowd woos before, but now we're getting like real hefty Ric Flair woos and real hefty woo responses. Woo!
So the match starts. Garvin and Flair giving back and forth with the chops.
Yeah.
Flair takes 10 punches in the corner, and then we get a Garvin stomp, which was basically him stomping like twice on every appendage.
Oh yeah, okay, that stomp, yeah. It was weird, and I kind of liked it.
It was very weird.
But it's I don't think it was any weirder than when people do like fucking finger manipulation spots, because those always take me out. I like them in theory.
You can't hear me, but I'm shaking my head.
He's shaking his head.
Temple right now.
I love a good technical boy. I don't love I love Marty. The finger snap.
Pete Dunne, Marty Scurll.
It's just when they push their hand down and then they don't move their hand and someone steps on it. Some people make it look better than others. But
it's true. Some people do.
I love Pete Dunne. I like Pete Dunne probably more than Marty, honestly.
I agree with that.
But
Flair then low blows Garvin to gain a breather, and then Flair with the running knee drop and begins to work on Garvin's leg. We get a shin breaker into the figure 4 by Flair.
Why don't people do more shin breakers? They look amazing.
Because Flair did them for so long that no one wanted to do the same move as Flair.
I feel like at this point, you could pull them off. Like, what if it was Ishii and Ibushi, and Ishii was doing shin breakers on fucking Ibushi all night because he's fucking all about some kicks.
That would be pretty good. I mean, at this point, I think someone else
Also,
could do them.
how about Ron Garvin versus Tomohiro Ishii?
Ishii would knock the crap out of him.
I know, but I just want to see their chop exchange.
Flair then starts grabbing the ropes for leverage while he has Garvin in the figure 4.
What else would he do in a figure 4?
After the second try, you can see the ref realize that the ropes are moving, but he never catches Flair grabbing the ropes.
Yeah.
Garvin then turns the figure 4 over, and Flair releases the hold. Flair then tries to slam Garvin's head into the ring, but Garvin blocks it, or into the cage, but Garvin blocks it multiple times. Flair then Irish whips Garvin, but Ronnie reverses it and sends Flair into the cage. We get cheese grater time for Flair.
I love cheese grater time.
And then more face meets cage time for Flair, and he is busted open.
You know my new, I guess it's not that new, but my favorite acronym for an NWA show is CAW, which means Cage's Weapon, which is like my Cage's Weapon spot note.
Well, I literally just thought of another T-shirt. It's a picture of Flair, but with the cage
in front of it,
right in front of it, and it says "Face meets Cage."
Face meets Cage. That's good. Or
so
maybe
it technically doesn't even have to be Flair's face, but it just when you think of Dusty or Flair as having their face thrown into a cage in the cheese grater, that's what I think of.
I feel like Cage's Weapon and it's somebody holding a whole cage, which would be really hard to draw, but using it like a chair.
Flair then tries to climb over the cage, as he always does, but Garvin catches up with him, slams Rick's head into the top of the cage a couple of times.
And it looks, these guys are getting pretty good at making leaving a cage look pretty good.
A little bit later, Flair goes to the top rope again, but this time is press slammed by Garvin, and Garvin locks on a version of the figure 4 in the middle of the ring. It's not the same figure 4 as what Flair does. He hooks over the leg instead of around the leg.
Yeah. It's kind of confusing to describe, but it's different.
Flair then reaches the ropes, so the ref forces Garvin to break the hold. But once again, we're in a steel cage, and there's no DQ.
So why are we breaking?
Makes no sense.
I hate it. I have no issue with a cage match. I have an issue with a cage match with really kind of a ref at all.
This is why climbing over the cage to get out makes a lot of sense for a cage match in the WWF. But, whatever. Flair tries again to slam Garvin's head into the cage, but Ronnie counters and slams Rick's head once more. Garvin goes to the top rope, hits a diving crossbody, but only a 2 count. Garvin then goes for a backslide pin. 2 count. We get some really loud chops from Garvin.
Have we juiced yet? Have we had that spot?
I mean, Flair's busted open.
Okay.
From all the cheese grater time.
Well, yeah. Well, he hits the fly into Cage's Weapon slingshot twice, and then I'm just it's always hard to tell because there's sometimes where Flair bleeds immediately, and then there's sometimes where Flair bleeds within the last 5 minutes. And you never know. Well,
at this point, Flair has been thrown. His head has hit the cage multiple times.
Yeah,
Ronnie
enough times to equal him being pinned 3 times.
Ronnie
Garvin
9 times. Has not hit in the cage with his head yet.
Of course he hasn't.
So Flair's back to trying to escape over the top. After a couple slams to the top of the cage, Garvin headbutts Flair, which causes him to fall onto the top rope, crotching himself. We then get Garvin going for the sunset flip off the top rope, which is how he won the belt in September. But Flair falls on top of him and grabs the ropes for leverage, but the ref sees it. Garvin then completes the sunset flip, but only a 2 count. Flair then carries Garvin across the ring and tosses him into a turnbuckle, but Garvin comes out with a big right hand, knocking Flair down. Another 2 count. Irish whip, but Flair reverses it. Garvin leaps forward. Rick grabs Garvin, stumbles backwards, where Garvin hits his head on the cage for the first time, falls to the mat. Flair with the pin, and the win. And new!
Sick into that match. It's so good.
Is it?
I think it's awesome.
He hit his head once.
He hit his head once, but he's not Ric Flair. And that's the difference.
So Tony and JR say their goodbyes, and we get a video package from the evening.
Matt doesn't like this show. I like this show.
So Michael Temple, what were your overall thoughts of this show?
I think this show was easy to follow, well wrestled, less bullshit than most NWA shows, and I appreciated it a lot, and I really loved that last match a bunch. And Matt does not feel the same way.
So at first thought, like looking at the matches, you have all the horsemen in title matches. Seems like a good thing because the four horsemen are some of the best wrestlers in the world. At the time. Unfortunately, I just didn't feel like they meshed. Well, Arn and Tully with the Road Warriors, that meshed. There was just some botched spots that took me out of the match.
Yeah. You don't think that Garvin and Flair meshed?
Luger and Dusty, I didn't feel like they meshed.
They definitely did not mesh.
And I don't feel like Garvin and Flair meshed.
Really? I love the Garvin-Flair match. This might be one of my favorite Flair matches.
Garvin did the same 4 spots.
It doesn't matter. He did them well. I liked them.
Like, literally, it was all his only move was it was a punch.
Maybe he was just being carried, but I liked that match. I liked it. So
basically, I'm giving the show a thumbs down.
Is this your least favorite star? Like, is this better? I thought this might be my favorite Starrcade.
I agree that Starrcades are getting better in their storytelling and their production.
But you don't think this is the best? I don't know if this is the best one, but I feel like this is the most accessible Starrcade. It's not a juice party. It's not a gimmick party.
As a wrestling fan,
yeah.
And if another wrestling fan was like, "Hey, should I watch this?" I'd be like, "It's not a bad show to watch."
Oh, I disagree. I would be like, if you're a wrestling fan and you want to watch if you want to watch some old NWA stuff, I'd be like, watch 87. It's a really fun intro.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm saying, if it was someone that was like, "Hey, should I watch this show?" I'd be like, "Yes, it's not a bad show to watch." I just did not love it.
I would probably say, "Fuck yes, you should watch this show."
I mean, I liked the last Starrcade bit, and I mean the thing is, the last Starrcade had a lot of funky finishes.
Yeah,
but they made sense. I was very in the middle on the last show too.
Yeah,
because
I feel like this is where
the stuff that was really good, but then there was stuff that was really bad, and it was really bad.
I feel like I'm hot on this show mostly because the good stuff is pretty damn good, and the bad stuff is really not that bad. So I feel like that overall, if you had to if it was the weights of justice, I feel like that it would be even and maybe a little bit up on the positive side, which is pretty rare. And it's not a juice party, and it's not a gimmick party. It's not a sombrero on a pole.
I don't really know how to explain it. I'm I didn't love the show overall.
Yeah,
but I do feel like
it was
one of the best Starrcades.
Yeah,
I know I gave other Starrcades a thumbs up or a thumbs in the middle or something. I'm giving this one a thumbs down.
Yeah. You just weren't entertained as much as I was.
But I just wasn't as entertained.
Yeah, see, I really liked the show. I loved that last match. I loved it. I liked it a lot. A whole bunch.
I could tell.
Yeah. But we were talking a little bit because we try not to sell each other out before we start recording, but we talk a little bit and kind of tease around it, and I could tell that you were down on it, and I was like, you son of a bitch.
Oh, so what I was going to go to after the match, the reason this whole Flair lost the belt and then got it back was because Jim Crockett realized that Survivor Series was going to be on the same night as Starrcade.
Yeah, so it's we need Flair to win, be working from underneath.
Exactly.
Which is what he does best.
Basically, it was we need the culmination of the star of our promotion to win the belt, and that will help us get
and
eyes
that's one of
on
those
the
things
product.
like, well, it's easier to take the belt off of Flair and then put it back on him than it is to do that with Dusty, who's not going to perform as well and is not as big of a deal.
And the thing is, they actually were going to they thought of multiple different people, but no one really wanted to just be a placeholder for a couple months. And Ron Garvin was all like,
I'll do it.
I'm 42 years old. I'm never going to win the world heavyweight title. Sure.
Yeah.
I can put that on my resume. And
that's great. I think that Ron Garvin's performance is awesome in this match.
I didn't care for it.
I enjoy it.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time that we smark it up. What was your best moments of the evening?
Oh, man. I don't know. You start. I don't even know anymore.
Sting.
Well, Sting. Yeah.
Sting.
Yeah, that's true. That's easy. And also, it should have been what I said. But no, Sting came out hot. It was great. Michael Hayes was really entertaining. Larry Zbysko's pizza face. I like this whole show. I feel like this whole show is worth your time. Even the Skywalker match.
Like I said, if someone were to come to me and be like, "Hey, should I watch it?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, watch it."
I'm high on this show.
I don't love it.
I'm high on this show. The even the Skywalker match is fun because of all the Cornette fuckery.
My favorite match of the night is the first match.
Really?
And it's a time limit draw, and I hate time limit draws.
That time limit draw is so good though. I think that time limit draw got me excited because I was like, oh, it's done so well. And like
it was done really well.
I think the thing with this show is I can see the NWA getting smart enough to understand how they need to present themselves on television, where they can't just go to the South and throw a bunch of hillbillies in a room and expect good results, and they're kind of changing with the time. The unfortunate part is that it's not going to last very long, but I think that based on this, I am so fucking excited for the next couple NWA shows because, or at least Starrcades, to say, because this was just it was lean, it was mean, it was easy to understand, and the performances were good. I was into all of these matches.
Other best moments, I really like Terry Taylor. Performance in the Unification match.
Can you do your best Rooster?
Cock-a-doodle-doo. He's not the Rooster at this point.
No, I know. But that's what he's kind of most famous for, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Any disappointing moments? Arn Anderson turning around and sitting there for 2 seconds.
Well, yeah, that was disappointing. But overall, things that were fuck this. Ron
Garvin only having 4 moves.
Fuck you. I like Ronnie.
Dusty Rhodes trying to do DDTs and drop kicks.
It's Dusty Rhodes though.
Don't do the moves if you can't do them.
Well, then what's he supposed to do? Just cut himself in the corner?
That's all he does.
It's true.
That's what he does good.
Yeah, but his promos are great. I don't know. It's a different time in wrestling. We have context, so I try to watch these outside of that and just as a pure enjoyment thing. Where it's I don't compare this to I've been watching Best of the Super Juniors all fucking month. I'm wrestled out, so tired of wrestling. It was really nice for me to watch a different style of wrestling and not watch the style of wrestling that I had been watching. I'm not throwing shade because that's my preferred, that's my preferred promotion. But it was nice to go back and see something that's kind of so infantile. It's not because it's stupid or for babies, but because it's just it's a big part of this it's kind of
we don't get to what Best of Super Juniors is if we don't have
the seed is sprouting, so it's okay. And I can see I saw NWA when it was they just threw the seed in the dirt, and I was all right, is it breaching the ground? I don't know. And now I'm okay, well, you're learning and you're putting on a better show, and it's more intelligent. You're getting better at shooting it for television, and it's exciting, and it was fun, and I really enjoyed it. We're always informed by the things that we're closest to when we take in new stuff. So I've been keeping up with Super Juniors completely, so it was nice to see something a little different, to get a throwback, and I think that it was the best telegraphed, explained, and best shot Starrcade so far.
It's a good opinion. I like it.
But you disagree.
I mean,
it's fine.
Yeah.
If we always agreed, it would be no fun.
Exactly. How about best performer of the night? I mean, we know it's Sting. So,
well, yeah.
Second best performer of the night.
Sting killed it. I think Ric Flair really fucking
Flair carried that match.
He did, and I like. There's been times like we've watched Flair matches like it's okay, but I feel like this is where Flair really came into Flair, and he didn't do the corner turnbuckle spot either.
Because he can't with it being in a steel cage.
He technically can.
I mean, he can,
but it wouldn't be cool.
No. Most surprising moments?
There wasn't very much blood and not very many gimmicks.
I mean, the gimmick thing, yes.
It's like we had a cage.
Steel cage match. It's the Skywalker match.
But, like, we didn't have a fucking bandana on a pole. We didn't have a fucking, like, noose on a fucking nurse or whatever. Like, there was no... And there wasn't a lot of juicing, man.
Most surprising for me is that a time limit draw was my favorite match of this evening.
It was a great time limit draw. And the thing is, like, time limit draws don't happen that often now. And when they do, it's kind of exciting because they're bad motherfuckers that do it.
In the last 3 years... Can you name more than one match that was a time limit draw?
No, I've seen ones that get close and it's exciting because they're tournaments.
The only match that I can think of that's been a time limit draw in the last 3 years.
Okada and Kenny?
Okada and Omega.
Yeah.
Because
that was fucking genius.
Well, I guess some Young Lion matches went to the time limit draws, but they had
there's only like one.
They had like 10-minute time limits.
Yeah, but that was like Narita and Umino, and like they're the Young Lions that had like made sense.
Yeah.
Also, like, a lot of people don't even watch those matches.
Definitely not. Now for a look back even farther into the history of wrestling.
The Dusty Finish.
James Toots Mont was a creative visionary. He wasn't made significant by helping decide who won Ed Lewis's matches. It was that he understood the most important thing was how a match was won and what the manner of their victory said about the competitors. Toots would create the idea of the finish. By dictating the way matches ended, the Gold Dust Trio could optimize the drama, and this practice forms the backbone of contemporary wrestling. The less legitimacy, the more the drama was enhanced, making the audience believe a challenger had a chance versus Lewis. But to do that, the challenger had to present a risk to the champion. Next week, Bunkhouse Stampede 1988.
There's been previous Bunkhouse Stampedes, right?
Yes.
But this is the only bunk with the gunk?
It's the only one that is filmed?
Potentially?
Possibly?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's like snips.
Can you explain what a Bunkhouse Stampede is to me? I mean, these promos are very funny.
The original Bunkhouse Stampede was basically a hardcore battle royal, where to win...
With or without a cage?
Without a cage. The rules for each one kind of changed.
Oh, so this is like a Dusty thing?
Yes, it is a Dusty thing. Because I think the very first one, because we saw promos for it,
yeah, it was really funny. It's like
86, I think.
Well, it's really funny because it's like somebody around a campfire, and it's like, when you're running horses and there's all these horny old men in this place where there's a bunch of bunk beds, there's nothing to fuck, so we just start fighting. That's basically what a Bunkhouse Stampede is.
But
I mean, they don't say that.
Now they've gone to so basically after this show, the month of December, they had a bunch of qualifying matches, qualifying Bunkhouse Stampedes.
Yeah.
That whoever won the most or won matches,
you get qualified for the finals.
No one really knows exactly. They basically picked the people that they wanted to be in the match. They competed in the Bunkhouse Stampede finals, which will be the pay-per-view that we'll cover next week.
We'll cover. Don't tell me. Don't say what you win for this
qualifying match. There was a money.
Yeah. You know what I love about the NWA? The NWA is always like, if you win, we'll give you some money.
We'll give you $50,000.
We'll give you some money.
There was one that was $25,000.
It's like all these stupid hillbillies care about is money. It's like they'll beat up their brother for money.
Exactly.
It's really bizarre.
So the music from this show, we get a new Starrcade theme. Starrcade 87.
What does it sound like? I'm just making this up as I go.
You heard it at the beginning of the show. And then, of course, Ric Flair won.
Oh.
So we get a little Spot Zarathustra.
You love saying that.
I do.
I know you do.
And that's by Strauss. You can
Levi Strauss?
No. like the classic composer.
I know. I'm just fucking around. We've talked about this song enough times. We've covered enough Starrcades.
So you can rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts. Give us those 5-star ratings as it gets us up in the analytics. More people can find us, and we can create more of these shows on a more regular basis. Even though we're coming out weekly, but maybe we could do them even more often if we tried.
I think we try pretty hard.
We try pretty hard. If you want to email us, you can email us at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at wrestlinghistox. That's wrestling HISTOX. And usually, I let the theme song play out.
No, you gotta play that promo.
But this week, after the theme song ends, I'm putting the Jimmy Garvin promo.
It's so good.
It's so good.
When I die, play the Jimmy Garvin promo instead of like a song.
It's gonna be our obituary. Just
Yeah.
the Jimmy Garvin
Yeah.
promo.
My mom's like not crying because she's confused. She's like, oh.
Why are we talking about Dusty almost losing his career?
My mom and dad have no idea who Dusty is.
But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Jimmy, what an event, what a day. It has already been, but I know you're disappointed that you didn't win the match.
Well, I'm not that disappointed now, Bob, because I didn't lose the match either. You know, we didn't win, we didn't lose, but it was a good contest. Michael Hayes, myself, and I, and Sting, we feel confident that we had a good, exciting match. And the fact is this, I'm just really excited on behalf of my Squeeze, Precious, and Michael Hayes, Bob. I'd like to tell all the fans that I'm just glad to be a part of Starrcade 87. It's the most exciting event in all wrestling history. I mean, the fact is, I get excited because I think about all the careers that are on the line tonight. I mean, we're just this far through it. There's a lot more action to come. And when I think about the guys like Dusty Rhodes right now that must be just a little bit nervous because just in a few minutes, he's going to put his career on the line. Then you got the Road Warriors against Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. And as far as I'm concerned about that, Bob, Michael Hayes and I are really concerned about that match because we want to challenge the winners of that match. It don't matter if it's the Road Warriors or if it's Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Everybody knows it's no secret. Squeeze and I and Michael, we've been talking about it. We want the World Tag Team titles. They're on our mind, and we're going to get them. My brother Ronnie, I get goosebumps up and down my back when I think about him. I love him to death, and I know if anything, this is his day. Starrcade 87 means a lot to everybody. Don't get me wrong, Bob. It means a lot to a lot of young careers. It means a lot to people that's been in this sport for many years. Myself, I'm just proud with Michael and Squeeze to be a part of the National Wrestling Alliance and Jim Crockett and to be on the winning team in professional wrestling in the wide world today. And there's no doubt in anybody's mind that the National Wrestling Alliance has the greatest wrestlers in the world. And my brother Ronnie Garvin is at the top of the pile. He is the world heavyweight champion. I'd like to predict too, Michael. I do want to predict that it's not my fault, ladies and gentlemen, when my brother Ronnie keeps the world heavyweight title and defeats Ric Flair, because nobody knows more than I do. And I've sat down and talked with my brother Ronnie for several hours about this. It means a lot to him because he did have a great match, there's no doubt, when he defeated Ric Flair in Detroit. Absolutely. But the talk is this, that match was nothing compared to the match that's going to happen later on. I'm telling you one thing, it's really going to be exciting. I'm going to be right here. In fact, I'd be on the front row if I could, but there's no seats left out there. In fact, ladies, there's no seats left anywhere, and it's going to be fantastic. I do predict my brother to win and keep his world heavyweight title. I do predict my buddy, that rascal Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream's not going to let the world down. He's not going to have to go into retirement. And the Road Warriors Arn Anderson thing, you know how I feel about that. And of course, Nikita Koloff and Terry Taylor. You can't forget about a match like that. There's two individuals fighting for the National Wrestling Alliance against the UWF. And of course, there's no question in anybody's mind, the greatest organization in the whole wide world. And we're very proud to be a part of it. It's a National Wrestling Alliance. I know you're going to tell me my time's run out, but I'm going to tell you I'm finished talking and we got to go. So we'll see you later. Have a good evening.
And good luck to you.